Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today's webinar is actually hosted by the Worcester Chamber of Commerce. My name is Rick Porter, and I have Kham with me. Kham, say hello to everybody.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kham Inthirath. Nice to be here today. Thanks for having me.
If everybody wants, we can just go through a couple housekeeping notes. If you look over on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a chat feature that's over there. I opened up the chat feature. We got Maria saying good morning to us, and Lily and Pamela. Throughout the presentation, if at any time you have any questions whatsoever, do us a favor. Go ahead and write your question in that chat feature. When we're all done the presentation, the webinar today, we're actually going to try to tackle as many of those questions as possible if we get some questions along the way. So again, if you have questions, go over to that chat feature and go ahead and enter those in there. So let's get things started. So again, welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much to the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce for actually hosting this webinar. I know this is something that they put together incredibly fast to get this useful information out to you guys as fast as possible. And today's webinar is all about easy to use and affordable tools that you can use to conduct business virtually while you're at home. It is a tough time for people. There's a lot of businesses that are either shut down or been forced to work virtually. And it's a challenge for people. And so today we want to talk about those challenges, and we want to give you guys some suggestions on some easy to use and affordable way that you can overcome those challenges. So before we get started, let's make a couple introductions so you guys know who your presenters are today. So I'm going to dive in and actually show you guys a little bit about myself. So my name is Rick Porter. I am the president of a company called Cinch I.T. We're actually located in Worcester, Massachusetts. We provide computer support to businesses throughout the United States. We are a franchise model. And honestly, there's a whole bunch of stuff listed there as far as awards and recognition that we've received. But most importantly, right now at this time, the businesses that we work with, our clients, are instituting their business continuity plans. Our clients were able to fairly easily adjust to working from home without losing a step. It's one of the services that we do for a lot of our clients, and we've had record-breaking number of clients coming aboard with the struggles. We've had people calling us up saying, I need to work from home. I need to work from home yesterday. I don't know how. I don't have the tools. Can you please help us out? So today we're going to talk about some of those tools. And Kham, why don't you give a little introduction to yourself?
Yep, I am the CEO of InThink Agency. We're a growth marketing agency, but we look at holistically. Right now, just like yourself, Rick, we're really busy transitioning our clients. We're calling this the rapid response, business plan or business strategy for a lot of our marketing clients. But we're looking at like the marketing side and the sales side, which we're going to go over in today's, how does that look for you virtually, and the customer success side as well. So those three buckets, like that really full journey of the customer journey and the buyer's journey. Just like Rick, I've won and companies won several different awards. Very connected to the city of Worcester. We're actually working on some branding work now with the city of Worcester. But our goal for all of our clients is understanding, like, because my whole team is remote. I actually have my own team members are across the country. I have a lot locally here too. But even the ones that are 20 minutes away, we still actually just jump on Zoom or use Slack. So I'm going to go over like how do we run really efficient meetings internally and externally, and what are all those different tools and softwares that we're using to leverage that. And we're helping our clients actually mimic what we're doing, and we're implementing and teaching them how to do that in their businesses now.
It's perfect. I think between the two of us, we both operate quite a bit remotely, so it's going to be nice to share some of those things. So there are a couple disclaimers. Today, we're going to be talking about the challenges, all right? And here's a couple of them listed here. What I want to do real quick before we dive into these is I just want to publish a poll. The poll is basically asking what type of technology that you're currently struggling with from home, whether it's phones, whether it's virtual meetings, sharing files, managing projects, or other software. If you can't take a couple minutes, just complete the poll, and that way we get a good idea of what questions you guys have or what technologies that you're struggling with. So we're going to give it a couple minutes or a couple seconds, actually. We'll give it about 30 seconds, and then we'll continue on. Got a lot of responses already. Oh, Kham, you're going to like this. There's going to be a lot of stuff for you today.
We'll see. It's almost like an election, right? It's gonna like
Yep.
shift right at the last minute.
Yep. Well, it is shifting a little bit. All right, so let's talk about some of these. About 8% of people are saying they're struggling with phones. We're currently, it keeps changing, but we're at 50% of people say they're struggling with virtual meetings. We're going to actually do a live demo of a couple different virtual meetings today. 26% of people are saying they're having trouble sharing files. About 15% are saying managing projects. And Kham, that number jumped all over the place. It started as one of our highest. So I think we're going to have a lot of questions around managing projects as well. And then there's some other software questions, and we'll dive into those. And again, in the chat feature, feel free to write specific questions, and we'll try to address them at the end. So thank you, everyone, for filling out that poll for us. Kind of gives us an idea of what type of stuff we're going to be looking at. So let's dive right into it. So, phones. 7% of people say they're having difficulty with phones. So, let's dive in and look at specific advice on phones. The key for Kham and I on today's presentation, there's zero sales pitches whatsoever from us. What we're looking to do is provide free information to you guys that's hopefully valuable. Okay, so I'm going to recommend some companies today that I might not even normally recommend, and I'm going to recommend some companies simply because they might be easy or quick to utilize. So let's talk about that specifically with phones. And my number one recommendation for those that are struggling with phones are to talk to your existing phone company. If you're a voice over IP phone company, it should be very easy for you to transition to home. There's lots of different options for you, and I would have a conversation with them. I have some clients that actually were physically able to pick up their phone, take it home, and plug it into the internet and be able to make calls as if they were in the office. I have other people that had to forward calls to their cell phone or to an answering service. The truth is if you have a good smart system like a voice or IP phone system, there's things like smartphone apps, so you can instantly answer the phone on your cell phone as if you were in the office. And my company, for example, we use smartphones. I do not have a physical phone anywhere on my desk. I utilize it all through my computer. And again, that's part of my voice over IP phone system. If you have an older phone system, an analog phone system, you might not have all of those features. And if so, there are still some options. Of course, you can still forward to that cell phone. You could still forward to an answering service if you want, or you can take this opportunity to migrate to a voice over IP system. So I put a couple recommendations down here that I think will be useful for you guys. If you're a small to medium sized business, I would take a look at systems like 8x8 or maybe Ring Central, and I put up some more recent pricing from them. So 8x8 is $12 per user per month. Ring Central is about $20 per user per month, and user would be an individual with a phone extension. I think that those are easy systems to set up. I have physically set them up in a couple hours, and the companies like Ring Central will actually walk you through the entire setup process. So it can be a easy way for you guys to convert over. When you do that, you don't necessarily lose your phone number. Okay, you can actually port, they call it porting your phone number over, so you can still keep your phone number. More importantly, that port might take some time. In the meantime, you can simply forward it to a new phone number that they give you temporarily. Those are a couple good options for small to medium sized companies. Now, the larger companies, I'll be very honest with you, Ring Central and 8x8 is just not going to do the trick. It's not feature rich enough for you to be able to transfer calls, to be able to have the auto attendant capabilities that you might want. For larger companies, I recommend you should contact a local company to help you. Companies like Vodacall, BCS, or Barry Communications are three examples of local companies that can help you and your company with those larger phone systems. Many of the businesses that we work with in the city of Worcester and the surrounding areas are already working with one of those companies. So again, goes right back to point one, start that conversation with the phone company. So hopefully that's helpful on the phones, on the phone side of things. I know that it was only 7% of people that are struggling with phones, but there's a couple companies that I recommend you look at. Next, let's talk about virtual meetings. Virtual meetings is the large part of what people are struggling with right now. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on this today. Very simply, clients, employee, vendor meetings do not need to be canceled. Even your networking groups do not need to be canceled. They can easily be virtual meetings. And I think that's very, very important because I see two different types of businesses right now. from a mentality standpoint. There's those that are working through each and every problem that they have, such as I was part of a networking group or a referral group or whatnot, and they continue on and they try to virtualize those meetings, and they still have networking meetings, they still have referral group meetings. The Chamber of Commerce, for example, they have a Connect for Success referral group that's actually going virtual, so they're doing their entire meeting virtual. They're hopefully still going to be able to pass referrals, they're certainly be able to describe each other's businesses. More importantly, they get to maintain that face-to-face one-on-one relationship with each other. So we're going to talk about 3 tools today that are useful and easy to set up tools. And it looks like we actually already had some questions about some of them in particular. So the first one I want to talk about is Teams. This is Microsoft Teams. Okay, here's some breakdown on some of the features as well as some of the costs for Microsoft Teams. Okay, Microsoft Teams, well, Microsoft in general, right? This is the Business Essentials. Okay, Microsoft Business Essentials license. It's $5 a user per month if you were to pay for the year upfront. Otherwise, if you want to pay monthly, it's $6 per user, which is actually pretty affordable. If you look at it, it includes a lot of stuff. It includes actually hosting your email. Emails for most people is not a problem right now. It wasn't even in one of the questions we asked, because most people can get their email from anywhere on any device, but they will host their email for you. They also give you a hub for all of your connections and teamwork, and that is Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is like the old AOL. It's a chat feature where you can easily chat with everybody in your organization, and you can even chat with people outside of your organization. Okay. Most importantly, within Teams, you're able to host virtual meetings. Okay. As it says on that slide, you can actually host video conferences for up to 250 users. Okay. Now, the whoever you're hosting these meetings with, they do not have to have a paid subscription to Teams or anything like that. Anybody can use it. Okay, there is an ad-free app that they're able to download, and they can even accept your meeting just through a browser and easily join your meeting. The chamber does not use Teams. I do. They use a different software. We actually had a couple meetings over the last 5 days where I sent them team invites, and they were very easily able to join those and have video conferencing. So today I want to talk about Microsoft Teams, and there's a couple different ways to do it. What I'm going to attempt to do is actually a little inception play here. We're going to do a Teams meeting inside this webinar, so this should be fun. I'm actually going to demo a live Teams call, and I'll try to call one of my guys here. So I am bringing over onto my screen my Microsoft Teams. So this is my calendar, right? I can enlarge it or I can increase it. This is my calendar that you're looking at, and don't freak out. I know it looks a little busy right now, but I have chat features where I can chat with my teammates, right? Under the calendar, I can schedule a meeting right now, a virtual video meeting, or I can schedule one out. If I click on schedule, you'll see here, I can very easily create a title. I can add attendees. We're going to give Steve Lettery a call. He works for my company. He's one of the account managers in the Worcester area. We'll give Steve a call in a little bit, but I can invite him to it. I could say I want to do it today at say 10:30. I can come all the way down, and I can even write notes letting him know what it's going to be all about. Okay. And I can send this to him. When I send this to him, okay, what he essentially sees is this. He gets an invite that looks something like this. It's an email that he receives saying, Rick has invited you to a Teams meeting. He'll be able to accept that meeting or decline the meeting, just like all normal invite requests. Now, when 10:30 rolls around and it's time to join this meeting, what he can do is he can actually hover right over where it says Join Microsoft Teams Meeting and simply click on it. That's it. That's all he needs to do. It's going to launch the meeting for him. Okay. So let's take a couple minutes and let's actually demo this live. Again, I'm in Teams here. I'm going to cancel this meeting. Okay. I don't want to schedule with him. I want to talk to him right now. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to come over to my schedule and I'm going to hit this Meet Now button right up here. Okay. And this launched Microsoft Teams. Okay. Within Microsoft Teams, I can turn my video on or off. I'll turn it on so you guys can or turn it on or off, and also gives me the opportunity to blur my background, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And also I can mute myself here if I want. So I'm going to join this meeting. It'll just be me in here. Okay. Okay, now I need to invite someone, and right down at the bottom, you can see I can chat with people. Okay, on the left-hand side here, I can chat with people. I can also see who all the attendees are. Okay, and I can go to this more actions, and it gives me a whole bunch of stuff, including blurring my background. If I'm in a busy Starbucks or something like that and I want to blur my background, I can do that here. I can also share my screen by clicking this button here, and you can see I have 3 monitors here, so I have a lot of different screens that I can share. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to come up here to the top right hand corner where it says people, and I'm going to invite Steve. Let's see if Steve is available. What it's doing right now is it's calling Steve. It's physically placing a phone call to him. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Rick. How you doing?
Are you working hard or hardly working?
No. Luckily, I've been very, very busy.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, oh, by the way, you are on a live webinar with the Worcester Chamber of Commerce. Okay, you are
Oh.
officially on. I know I warned you that I was probably going to call you, but you are officially on the webinar right now. So don't say anything
Hello,
silly.
everyone. Yeah.
So we're actually just doing a live demo of the Teams environment and showing them around. So obviously this is what it looks like when I have one person that I'm interacting with, and Steve can see me, I can see him, and we can have a face-to-face conversation. One of the things that we can do is invite multiple people on here. And when I invite multiple people, this screen will actually divide up. You'll see 4 different faces on here if I was to call 4 different people. Okay. Again, I have the ability to shut off my camera if I want. I can mute myself on here, and I can share my own screen. So Steve and I, we're both working remote a lot right now. Most of my company is, and Kham, in your case, you said your company almost is always working remote, correct? Yeah, perfect. So this is a great opportunity to have face-to-face conversations. So when Steve is working on something that he wants to review with me or he wants me to look over, he can actually share his screen with me. And when he does that, he's coming right down here on his screen as well, and he's going to hit this screen share button. Steve, you want to share something on your screen that you're working on? Just so
Yeah,
everybody
let's
gets
see
to
what I
see.
got. So it's funny, right before you actually called me here, believe everyone should be able to see my screen. There we go.
So that's Steve's screen right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually just looking over our most recent blog post about working from home, surprisingly, and making sure it's all secure. Kind of, with the, phishing attempts, how that's kind of been an all-time high right now with the crisis that's been going on, and just, finding ways to be secure against that,
Yeah.
along with just, staying productive while working remote.
So Steve, because we're doing a Teams meeting with inside the webinar, the guys can't actually hear you at all. They can only hear my voice because everybody else is muted. So sorry guys that you don't get to hear Steve's voice. Steve is basically sharing his screen. He's in the middle of writing a blog for Cinch I.T. For the post all about working from home. So as you can see, he shared his screen, and I can look it over. He can scroll up and down, show me what he's working on. I can even request control and take over. Okay, whenever I'm ready, I can have him stop sharing his screen, or I can take back over here. So again, I have a face-to-face conversation with Steve. Steve and I can chat on the side function again, right? And chat is not always as important when you're doing a face-to-face conversation, but if you have 6 or 7 people on here, much like we're doing in the webinar, it's a good opportunity for you to write down some questions along the way. Okay. Then we can get back to those questions. So that's the basics of Teams. That's how to schedule a meeting in Teams. That's how to invite someone to join a meeting. And obviously you can see how easy it is inside the webinar. It's a little inception with an inception piece here, so you guys don't get to hear Steve. But Steve and I are having a conversation, and I can hear him just fine. Very, very easy to use. Steve, if it's okay with you, I'm probably going to hang up with you here. We might demo Zoom in a little bit or something like that. So I might call you right back in a little bit with Zoom. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good.
All right. So we're hanging up with Steve. Okay. Let's get back to looking at some of the other options that we have here. That's Microsoft Teams. Okay. Pretty easy to use. It's one of my favorites. It's mostly because I'm very comfortable with it. My entire company uses it because with the Microsoft products, I can do email, I can do chat features, I can do video features, and I can even do file share. There's a lot of other really good products out there. Slack is a really good product. If you look at Slack, Slack has a free account for small teams where you can actually utilize a lot of the same features. Slack does a little bit of everything as well. They have project management. You can do video conferencing. You can do one-on-one voice and video calls for them. So Slack is a really good product. I won't demo them all because I only have a certain period of time today. But Zoom is also a very good product, and Kham actually uses Zoom at his office quite a bit. I've used it from time to time. Zoom also has a free account. The free account versus the pro account, what's the main difference? I would tell you the number one difference is the free account only allows you to have a 40-minute call or video call. If you think any of your meetings are going to go over 40 minutes, that's when you're really going into the pro version. There are some other stuff that you get as well, like Skype for Business and stuff like that. But I think that's the major differentiator for you guys. Otherwise, the free Zoom account is absolutely great. I actually have the free account of Zoom created. When you get in here, this is what Zoom looks like. Very simple, very easy to set up. Okay. And I think we actually had a couple people who had some questions about Zoom. Maria said she absolutely loves Zoom. I think most people do. I think Zoom's a very easy product to use. It's very intuitive. So I'm going to go through a couple things here. We did get a question on how do you schedule a meeting in Zoom. And so Zoom does a really nice job of really giving you kind of making it easy for us and giving us 4 real things we're looking at. But in order to schedule a Zoom call, you're going to schedule it right here. You're going to click on the schedule button, and it's going to give you this pop-up. Okay. Again, I can create whatever I want here. I can put the date and the time I want to meet for. I can even set it as a reoccurring meeting, and I do that in Teams all the time. You can also do that in Zoom. You can have these automatically generated IDs, or you can create a personal ID. You can set natively, right? Or you can set it from the very beginning, whether you want the host's video to be on or off. Same thing with participants, audio, everything like that. And it gives you a couple calendar invites. You can do Outlook or Google and other calendars. And there are some advanced options. I only want to go through the basics with everybody today because what I want you to take away is that's the tool I want to use. And then you can go execute and you can get that done and start being productive with video calls. So this is how you schedule a meeting. And that schedule is going to create a calendar event which you'll be able to log into at any time, just like the Teams meeting did. Now, you can join a meeting. I can share my screen directly from here, or I can create a new meeting. And you'll see this little drop-down arrow over here. Again, I can use a personal ID, or I can start with video. So let's get a hold of Steve again. I'm gonna hit the meeting. This is what Zoom looks like once you're inside. Obviously, I'm not broadcasting my video right now, but this is what it looks like when you're inside of Zoom. Now, one of the questions we just got was, can we record the session in Zoom? And you absolutely can. Let's go through the navigation that you see down at the bottom. One, you can invite people. You can manage the participants when you have several people that are on here. Again, you can share your screen. You can chat with them, and then here's the record button right down here in the bottom. You can record this entire video. You can record both on Teams and on Zoom. Kham and I actually had a conversation just yesterday where you can actually record these videos and you can upload them into things like Stream and other software products that will actually annotate and take notes and give you a complete annotation of your entire meeting, which is really great, especially for things like management meetings and stuff like that. I think, Kham, you pretty much have a policy where you're recording every single meeting with your people. Is that correct?
Internal and external. It's accountability and transparency.
Yep.
And then we transcribe everything too, so like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So share notes.
Yep. So you can record with the free version. Okay, that was one of the questions we got. You can absolutely record with the free version. So let's actually do an invite so that you guys get to see. So I'm actually let's invite Steve again. So I click on the invite button and I get a pop-up. Okay, I'm gonna click on Steve's name. He's already in here. And I'm gonna invite him to the meeting. So just like Teams, it's now taking a couple seconds to give him a call and connecting to him. And there's Steve again. So Steve, we're probably still not gonna be able to hear you, but give us a wave or something.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will be able to hear me still. So
Yeah. So probably still not gonna be able to hear you, but we're able to see you again, and that's how easy it was to invite someone to be a participant in one of your Zoom calls. Again, if I want to record, I can hit the record button right down here and record my conversation with Steve. They have little reactions like thumbs up, which is interesting. Every once in a while, you'll jump on and say, "Hey, can you hear me? Okay?" Especially when there's multiple people and you have them muted at first. Um, you can go and hit the thumbs up. Hey, I can hear you just fine. Um, so I got one question that says, "How was Steve's name already in the screen and ready to invite?" Basically, Steve and I have done Zoom meetings before. So once you start inviting people, it's kind of like a caller ID of who you talked to last. Their names will be right there. I don't use Zoom a lot, so I only had 3 people in there, but Steve is one of them. And so his name was already populated. If not, Steve, I'm going to end the call with you and show them again, in case he's not there.
okay,
So thanks again, Steve. So I'm going to end my meeting with Steve. Okay. And now let's do that again. And what I'm going to do is show you what it looks like if Steve wasn't in there. Okay. If he's not in there, I'm literally just typing through my contacts, or I type email and I can send an email invite directly to him. Okay. So my default email is Outlook. I can click here and I can email him right through the system, or I can copy the URL or copy the invitation to the meeting and I can email him separately if for any reason, that's easier for you to do. So you'll essentially send somebody an email inviting them to your meeting. Jumping back to Teams for a minute, we got a question. Can you record and transcribe there as well? Christy asked. Yes, you absolutely can. You can record within Teams just as easily, and you can transcribe. In order to transcribe you for Teams, I use Microsoft Stream. You actually upload your recording into Stream, and it will go through and it will transcribe that for you as well. Kham, what software do you use for Zoom in order to transcribe Zoom?
Zoom actually has its own transcription internal,
There you go.
um, and I'm actually gonna put in a chat right here like another tool that we use for transcription for any videos. If you guys are creating videos on your mobile phone, you want to have those captions, so I'll pop that in there. It's called Temi.
Perfect. All right, so that is Zoom. I'm going to close out of all these meetings and let's get back to the presentation. So that's Zoom, and again, they also have a free version and a paid version for you as well. Teams, Slack, Zoom, all 3 of them are great products. They all are pretty low cost and easy to use tools. It's really your preference. If you're a Microsoft person and you're using, Outlook and stuff like that, I think Teams is a really great option for you. If you're someone like Kham, who has multiple different softwares that he uses for a multitude of reasons, Zoom is a really great addition to add on very, very easily. And again, the free version's great. So this does not have to be expensive paid tools. Utilize the Zoom one right now. All right, so let's get back over to the next topic. So sharing files. Several people said they had that sharing files was difficult for them. So let's talk about a couple different options. We're always trying to look at the silver lining. Here's your chance to go paperless. I have a lot of clients that say they want to go paperless. Well, you now have an opportunity to go paperless, and working from home is a great opportunity for that. There's a couple different options for you that we're going to review today. The first one is VPNs, or virtual private networks. These are free if you have the capabilities to do that. That question would be, if you have an IT company, you would talk to your IT company and have them set one up for you. It's basically a personal one-to-one connection to your server or desktop that is in the office. Okay, it's free. It's one of the, if your IT company set it up for you, it's probably one of the easier things to just let you work as if you were in the office. But that's not a capability that everybody has. Okay. So we're going to talk about 3 other ones here. It says Microsoft SharePoint, Google Drive, and Dropbox for Business. These are 3 that we're talking about. Now, guys, we got a question a couple minutes ago as well, asking what about Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is great. It's a really great tool. Obviously, we can't review every tool. Kham and I actually talked about it. Google Hangouts is good. It just has a lot of quirks to it. and we have a lot of users that will report little issues and little quirks with it. Zoom and Team is so simple and easy to use, that they're the ones that we typically recommend. Google Hangouts, a lot of people use them. It is a great product, and it is easy. It is pretty easy to use as well. So if you're on Google for if you're using Gmail as your business account and things like that, absolutely can use Google Hangouts as well. And the same thing goes for file share. There's a million different file share softwares that are out there. Dropbox for business, full transparency. If you were one of my clients, I would never necessarily recommend Dropbox for business. Okay, I don't think it has the compliance regulations that you really need or the security that you really need, nor does it have all the functionality that you can get with so many others. But guys, it's a tough time. People are working from home, possibly for the first time ever, and so it might be an easy solution for right now. And the security, as long as you're using Dropbox for business, is good enough that you're not going to have any issues. Okay. The first one I want to talk about is Microsoft OneDrive. Okay. Again, I want sticking with a theme here. If you're a Microsoft user, if you're using Outlook, if you're already on Office 365, if you're utilizing Teams, then OneDrive is a natural option for you. It is included with the Business Essentials subscription that we talked about for the teams. You can also buy a Microsoft OneDrive subscription only. I've listed some of the prices that are on their websites and things like that. Okay. The let's talk about this for a second. So OneDrive for Business is essentially a cloud-based file share. It's a place for you to be able to store all of your documents, Word documents, Excel documents, PowerPoint presentations, images, videos, anything, just about anything you want. Okay. For the OneDrive for Business, the Plan 1, which is their basic, their low-end one, you can actually upload files that are 15 gigs or more, and they give you 1 terabyte of storage per person, which is actually pretty good. Most of us won't go over that. Um, Personally, at least, you won't go over that. Businesses certainly can, but again, if you have a business of, let's say, 5 people, it's pooled storage. You'll get about 5 terabytes. Oh, you will get 5 terabytes total. So let's look at some screenshots of OneDrive. So when you're in OneDrive, here's some screenshots of how easy it is to upload and save files to different folders. First off, you're going to sign in to office.com. Okay. If once you sign up, you'll sign up for your subscription. You'll have a login, a username, and password to log into office.com. When you log in, you're going to select your OneDrive. Okay. And then it's as simple as you have 2 different ways you can save stuff, right? You can actually hit the upload button right from within OneDrive. You can hit the upload button, select the folder or the file that you're looking to upload, and hit the upload button. Okay, that's one way to do it, and that's what most people are comfortable with. They have an Excel document, they have a Word document they want to save to their cloud-based file server. After they saved it locally, they can just upload it, and that's essentially what you're doing here. You're uploading your file. When you have a subscription to OneDrive, you also have the ability to save as to the OneDrive folder. Okay, so again, this is an Excel document. You hit File, Save As, and instead of selecting My Documents or My Pictures, you can select your OneDrive location. It's a very quick and easy way to be able to save your documents. So if you're looking for a fast way to be able to do it, that's a really, really good way for you to be able to do it. Now, when you're in OneDrive and you've saved those documents, how do you share them with your team? You have a couple different ways to do it. This is how you actually share a document within the Office apps. Okay, it says right here to share the file from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or any other Office app. Right, you can actually select the share button when you're logged into Office. You can actually select the share button, and it will bring you this pop-up, and you just send the link by typing in the person's email address right here. Okay, when you're inside, you can also look at the specific file level. So let's say you have this advertising ideas document. This is a Word document that you wanted to share with somebody. You can also right click on the file, hit share, and it will bring up this box as well that you can send it to. So it's very easy to be able to share files with Microsoft. Now, Microsoft's not always the best product for you. So there's other ones like Google Cloud. Okay, somebody mentioned Google Hangouts before. If you're using Gmail for your email, if you're using Hangouts, then I would absolutely go with Google Cloud. It makes your life so much easier when all your products are made by the same people and they're all in one place. If you're looking for Google Cloud, it's $8 per active user per month. Um, it's not as much. The file size is actually larger. Pardon me. You can actually upload larger documents, I believe. You still get 1 terabyte of storage, so it's the same amount of storage. The only difference here is there is some overage if you go over your allotted amount. Okay. Um, Google Cloud works just like the Microsoft product that we just looked at. It looks just like OneDrive. So you're able to share files the same. You're able to share permissions the same. It's very, very similar. And then there's Dropbox for Business. So most of us are familiar with the personal Dropbox account. This is Dropbox for Business. It just has added security. As you can see, some of the stuff you'll see over here gets into more of the nerdy technical stuff on here. If you're going to be using Dropbox to share files, my biggest recommendation is just make sure you're using the Dropbox for Business account. They have a standard account of up to 5 terabytes of space for $15. You can actually do their advanced plan, which is always what they're going to recommend, is $25 per user for starting at 3 users. Most of you won't need anything more than the $15 per user account, and Dropbox is very easy to use as well. So uh, those are some really good options for file sharing. So, Kham, your specialty is definitely storefronts and the different options they have for you. Certainly managing projects as you manage a team remotely. Why don't you go ahead and take over the screen, and we'll let you talk about the next 3 topics: storefronts, managing projects, and software.
Okay. I just want to take a quick pause here, guys. Any questions for Rick? I know we're going through a lot of things here. So
So we got a couple for file sharing out of Google and Office. You can share to all people, not just people in your team. Correct? That's absolutely correct.
yeah,
You can include anyone's email address anywhere. You absolutely don't have to share from within. Let's see.
and I was just chatting with people on the side as you were talking
Perfect.
too, Rick. So
I
if you
think
guys have
you
questions,
answered most of the
um,
other questions, right?
yeah, I tried. I mean, I might have missed a couple,
Perfect.
but feel free to like reach out to us after. Like, we'll have our contact information. We're going to do our best to answer questions here live. But I have a lot of information. Rick has a lot of information that we're covering in this session. So we want to make sure we personalize it for you. So reach out to us after this.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
While
Oh,
Com starts to share his screen, I'll go over one last thing. There was one really good question that we got that I want to make sure we address. It says, what settings do you use to assure people can join your meeting by audio, internet, or phone, for example? That same meeting invite that they get can be handled on any device. It can be on a tablet, it can be on a laptop, it can be on a cell phone. I actually have people from all over that are traveling that will actually jump on one of those video meetings via their cell phone. It will use their video camera to record their face, so we can still have a one-on-one face-to-face meeting, or they can simply call in and shut off, and the video can be shut off. Again, there's also that audio number below the invite. If they don't want to select the meeting, it will give them a call-in phone number in order for them to call in on their cell phone and not do any video whatsoever. So, all right, Com, it's all yours.
all right, guys. Buckle in. We got a lot of information here. I'm going to speak fast. I normally actually speak fast, but there's a lot of information because not everything from a software and technology stack is going to be relevant to you. We have a lot of different businesses here. We have a lot of different types of folks here. If they're in sales, customer service, management. So I'm going to go through for really kind of setting the stage here. Like, what does the storefront to digital front look like? And then what's next? What does that technology look like? What does that interaction look like? What does that workflow internally, externally look like? There's some things that I'm not going to go in deep dive with because we're actually going to do other like subset webinars that are going to go more deeper into the different systems. But if you're a storefront, right? This weekend, my kids my 2 daughters are in ballet, so they actually started a Google Classroom. Like, kudos to them. Like, they created this online classroom where you can check off and almost do if you're a gym, if you're doing like any of those types of like lessons that people coming in and paying for that. Think about ways you can virtualize that. You can use a system like Google Classroom. There's a lot of other platforms out there. You can upload a video, they can watch it, and then they can say lessons done. So live assessments with phones. We have HVAC client, so he's doing heating and hot water assessments over the phone using we're creating the workflow for him. So using either like Facebook Messenger or using Zoom or just using FaceTime. But I mean, someone might have an Android phone versus an iPhone. So there are a lot of different ways to kind of do that screen sharing live. And then step-by-step guides. So again, same example here for like we have an electrical client, and what like if you can create step-by-step guides for that homeowner or for that consumer, like what is it they need to do to assess, or if there's guides that if you're training or teaching someone, if there's a consultative services that you're doing, you can create these guides. So basically you're creating content. And this content can be SEO that can rank and live on your website. You can make that a downloadable guide. You can provide a resource, right? You're going out there and you're creating more resources, and people are downloading it. So now you're capturing an email, and then you can start engaging with them. So this is where you start to kind of build and expand that customer base that you already have now. And then virtual training. So video recordings, we're going to talk about how do we use Loom, which is different from Zoom, Loom, Loom. So you can record trainings and send that to someone. So let's say you're a therapist, or again, you're a coach, or you're an advisor. So you can get an email, someone's asking you questions, you can record yourself and send that back via email. Then you can also do live sessions as well. Virtual events. If you have clubs, groups, networking groups, Rick mentioned as a chamber, if you create your own networking groups, if you're doing, you start to there's newer clubs that are just getting created here. People are creating new groups on Facebook. So that's how you can start engaging with your community, but also with your potential clients. Celebrations. Actually, just yesterday, my wife celebrated a birthday with her friends. They did a Zoom link to everybody. They had their glass of wine. So there's ways to still, we're dying for that social engagement, right? We're kind of in this quarantine. So you can try to have those celebrations, or try to have those like engagement levels using that virtual meeting with your clients as well. If you can do maybe like a client of the month, or just kind of think of different ideas to re-engage with folks, and you can post that link on social media. If you're doing classes, if you're a local restaurant, and a lot of people are trying to support their restaurants right now. So if there's like that pizza shop you always go to, maybe that owner, or you can reach out to that owner and say, hey, maybe you guys can teach us on how you make that famous pizza. And you can just engage. They might not be buying something, but there's definitely a balance between building that brand and building that connection with the community, but also with your clients. Because when we come out of this, you're going to see brands and businesses elevate in a different way, because we working together, we got stronger. So if you're also doing, like, let's say a class of gymnastic class, those are all things that can be virtual. So I mean, there's a lot of ways here. I'm hoping my goal here is to get you guys thinking out of the box here. Virtual tours. We have an assistant living client who's asking us, like, how do we do, people can't come visit here, so how do we do virtual tours? There's definitely technology to do that with easy with the cell phone. You can do it with Samsung 360. There's like that lens, and it's very easy. You put it on the stand and it records, and then you can have a virtual tour of a facility. E-cards, we're seeing a lot of people doing offers and specials right now. Think of it like Groupon. So you're really focusing on like that loyalty and that reward programs for your current clients, but potentially even getting some potential new clients, believe it or not. So maybe say, hey, we're offering for $100 gift card at 25, 30% off. So what you're doing is you're getting folks to, and we're seeing this now, they're just like Groupon, they're buying things and reserving it with future anticipation to utilize that credit. So you can actually get some cash flow now doing these different offers and specials that people can reserve or buy now for future use. So just thinking out of the box, and it has to be relevant and make sense. I wouldn't say go out there and just start selling things, so just sell it and discount it. Has to be relevant. Does this make sense? Anyone have questions? I'm not seeing the screen too.
Yeah, so far, no specific questions just yet. Just letting everybody know that we are recording the video. I guess there was some people are having a couple delays and things like that. So we are recording this entire webinar today, and we will share that with everybody as well. That's basically the main question that we got so far.
All right, great. All right, so now you have all these ideas, and it's like, okay, how do I manage these projects? Because typically people are managing projects on an Excel sheet or whatever they're doing right now, or they might be using some sort of project management software, but they're not really fully utilizing it. So we use Asana. I've used different things over the last 4 years. I've used Teamwork, ClickUp. Monday's really good. Monday's probably the easiest to use. Then we have Slack for communications, and then Toggle's time managing. So like I like to make sure like I'm seeing like how lean and mean is my team working. So using something like Toggle can track all that. So I'm gonna quickly deep dive into this. So Slack is free, and I have like 30 something plus people on this within my team. So and it's free. Like I'm not even paying for the pro version. So you can create like department channels, client channels, committee channels. Like for the chamber, you guys can create like your different committees and groups can be on here, have their own private channel. It integrates with HubSpot. In Slack, people build integrations for Slack. It's the center of truth for communication. So Google Drive, like I can share a Google Drive doc or a Dropbox link, and everything's all here. So treat Slack like how you would treat like your office setting, right? You're swinging by someone's office, someone's cubicle, and you can have that quick interaction on there, and you can share files, and like maybe you're swinging by Dan's desk. Hey Dan, I just want to drop off this file. Well, you can message Dan. Hey Dan, I have this file for you. Here it is on the link on my Google Drive link. So you can. It's definitely not going to be perfect, but it's very close and similar to that office setting. And the great thing is you can have fun with it. You can add GIFs, and you can add like we had this little. I know we have a InThink team channel internal, so we're trying to make light as much as we can, just laugh and GIFs stand out. Just like think of social media, it's all different feeds. So just having GIFs are a great way to just make kind of build a culture a little bit. All right, so how do we use Asana? Now, Asana, what we did here, like this is actually not ours, it's a screenshot so you guys can see, is like you can create objectives, right? So it's increased revenue, it could be increasing customer value, it could be increasing, maybe you're creating 2 different new lead generation marketing campaigns right now. So you have a high level objective. When you click into it, then you see all the tasks associated to it. So you can create like, okay, for me to do to transition myself to e-commerce. So that's the e-commerce website. I'm gonna need a web developer. I'm gonna need content. I'm gonna need photos. So you can basically think of all the different campaigns that you do. I do apologize, you guys might be hearing my kids in the background here. They're down the hallway, but if you hear them, I
Those are
have
just work from home issues that we're all dealing with.
I actually don't have this thing on called Crisp, which you guys basically it blocks out all the noise. I didn't turn it. I haven't downloaded it yet. I've used it, but then I turned it off. Actually removes all the background noise, which is pretty cool. So you can create goals and campaigns and integrations. And what I'm doing with this is I can also look at utilization of my team. I can find out if we have more projects or less projects, especially if we're thinking about, you know, the reality is, are we keeping all of our employees? Are we downsizing our employees? So I can look at this and figure out, okay, who's overutilized, who's underutilized, who can I actually add more work and consolidate some of the work if need be. So you can really use project management software to do a lot of the stuff that you're thinking about by running a business. And then you can add your accounting software in there and do billing. You can monitor the all your team. And then I love the audit trail on here, meaning you know exactly who's touching what and when. So for example, here we have campaigns on the left side, and then all the different, like we call them sprints, like mini projects that are going to end in a few months. So we were doing a podcast, and I needed to have Mike as our video guy to edit the podcast, and here's all the different audit trails when someone touched it. Because sometimes someone will change the like, how do you know if someone changed the deadline, or how do you know if it's behind, or why it's behind, or what's holding this up? So you see full transparency, what's happening, who's holding up the project, who's doing it, who's touching it, who's not uploading something, because there's accountability throughout this whole thing. So we love Asana because of that. Some other programs don't do that. Like the Audit Trail only audits some of it. It doesn't audit every single thing. I like to see that. Other people don't need to. So the project management software that works for you, all of them are very similar in features. You just got to figure out where the buttons are. So now time tracking, right? This is really great if you're obviously understanding we have to be budget conscious. So you can look at budget projections for a project or budget projections for the week and back into it. You can scope out projects. You can look at your clients, like how often are you talking to your clients, how much time is that taking up of your team, profitability analysis. So there's a lot of cool ways, and this is called Toggle, and you can add this, and it's so easy to use. It turns on and off. You could be on your cell phone. You can go from your laptop to your cell phone to somewhere else. Like I'm walking in the house and I gotta help put some type of Facebook Live for my kids to do something. I can leave my laptop, be on my phone, and like still track my time without losing. No, and it's not where you have to keep pressing the button, but this is a really great resource here. At the end of the day, right? The last sentence, now I can just focus on the important things instead of micromanaging. So this is what Toggle is going to do for you. We talked about now transitioning to software. All this accounting software, I mean, we use QuickBooks. Xero is another really big one, FreshBooks. I'm not going to dive into this, but if you guys are transitioning, you need to find a cloud-based software. These are all great software. If I've actually used Xero and QuickBooks both. So it has to be like, what type of features are you looking for? And I do know several people that use Zoho too, because Zoho out of the box has a lot of things already underneath it, like CRMs, and it's almost like a really one-stop shop. So now piggybacking off of what Rick was saying earlier, we got Zoom. I'll dive into a little bit, just little pieces of that. Loom, Vidyard, Crisp, GoToMeetings. There's so many out here, but these are the most popular ones that we like. So here's some scenarios of what are we using these software tools for? Humanizing experience. You can give presentations and demos, live on Zoom, or you can even record yourself giving a presentation or demo and send it off. You can collaborate. Like today, actually, I sent a Loom video to Rick this morning. I did a quick 1-minute video. I'm like, hey, can you move this really quick? It was easier for him to probably see that than me typing it and explaining it on an email. So approvals, you can do some education, you can do follow-up. I mean, it's endless. Really kind of how we are communicating day to day. These tools I've been using for years to just be more efficient. So here's an example of Loom, and I love using Loom, and it's free. And they actually have a program right now. It's free for educators and students, and they also cut their price in half. So on their free version, you can get a lot of value from that. So in an email, I sent an email to some of my clients, just kind of talking about kind of what does it look like working with us now. I sent an email to my team members, such just addressing like approving something. So I just embedded it, and it looks like this. You play it, and you can. So instead of writing a really long email, you can just drop this in. It's quick. So how it works is you download the application. It goes right on your browser. You can also have it right on your desktop on the toolbar on the bottom or the top for the Mac. And you can do your screen. You can just do your camera. You can do both, and hit start, and it starts right away. Once you're done, it creates a link just like this. And you can name it whatever you want here. I always best practice. You wanna title it, so it will archive it for you. It's in the cloud, so it doesn't use up your own space. And I create different folders. So I create one for like client folder, admin, operations, sales, marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So I have different groupings. And what comes out of this is you just take the copy link here on the top right and just embed it wherever you want. We usually drop it right into Slack, or we put it into in our project management software. Again, it's just a way to communicate, or you can drop it into an email. And so as you can see here, the basics free. It's $0. Usually it's $10 for the pro. It's $5. It's free for teachers and students. And it does a lot of great analytics. You can actually find out if someone's actually watching your video. So if you're doing a proposal, you're reaching out to someone, or even you're trying to get a hold of a client and they're like, I wonder why they're not getting back to me. Having that video, humanizing it is a lot better than just sending an email, because you can give that emotion in voice there, and you can actually see if they actually watch the video. So then they're engaging with you.
Kham, that's a great one for a lot of sales teams and a lot of sales professionals that are working from home as well. Send those videos, whether it's a Vidyard or Loom or whatnot, a couple tools that you mentioned, and you can actually tell who's actually looking at your emails. If you're sending prospecting emails, you can include videos right in there, and you could tell. It'll track you and give you the analytics. Did they click on it? Did they watch it? Things like that. So the data is incredibly useful as we're working from home.
It's awesome. Like I've had even going through some clients, you can't sit down and go through a proposal with them. Like I have one of my clients, they're a moving company. He's like, I met with the wife, but I still need to I got to convince the husband. I was like, well, record yourself on Loom. So I gave him the link. He's like, this is amazing. And he basically went through and answered all the questions. So there was a personal touch that he had to it, because he did a video, they can see, the conviction, the expertise that he brought to the table versus just an email. So he converted that.
Yeah, and we all get hundreds of emails a day. So when you get one that has a video in it, it catches your eye. You pay attention to it.
There's tons of data behind it that it's definitely, it helps with converting and just engaging. So very easy to do, guys. Background changes, you might have already know this already, but in settings, you can actually change the background. So you see the guy here with the kids all over the place, and then you can just change it with the background with the woman here, where it actually looks like she's in a room, but she's in a different setting. So cool, some cool little hacks like that. We talked about transcription a little bit earlier. So Zoom has its own transcription. If you go in the settings, you can actually click transcription and transcribe. So let's say you had a meeting and you're like, you know what? I thought I told them I was going to send it to them Thursday. And you type the word Thursday. In this example, the word happy. So you can see where it pulls up and it brings you to the certain part of the video, but also captures it here. So you can send this to a client or to your team members and be like, yeah, remember I asked you to send this, get this back to me by Thursday. Here's what we spoke about it. So just let me know when you get it to me. And I've been proved many times wrong using a tool like this. So it's just really great just for accountability, because we're super busy and I can't remember what I did yesterday. It's just with a lot of things that's going on and the kids. So this is just great. And Chris, this is what I mentioned earlier. I had this thing. This was extremely expensive when it came out. So I used this in the past, and then it came back, and they actually have a free version now, which it didn't have before. You can have, it's amazing. You can literally be in an airport in a loud cafe. The kids can play right next to you, talking to you within 2 feet. And it would sound just like this. Like you can't hear anything. You turn this thing on. This is amazing. These guys have tons of funding. So the price point, it's free for the first 120 minutes. And after that, I think it's worth it for $5 a month to get the pro version. So AI chatbots. Right now, we're trying to create that. If you're a storefront, typically you would greet somebody, or you're either a salesperson or a customer service person would greet someone. This chatbot, there's a difference between live chat and AI chatbots. So these are the main players for it that do it very well. Drift, LivePerson, Intercom. We use Drift. We prefer Drift. I think they have a lot more customization layers. And so, because the old way is someone goes to the website, they fill the form out, they send an email, then it maybe drops in your CRM, you see if they're qualified, and you call them. It takes days or weeks to get back to them. Versus the new way, conversational. Right when someone's engaged, that bot can come up and pop up. It's in the corner, and you can personalize it too. So if you have 5 different services, you should really create 5 different bots. They're called playbooks, and that way, let's say you do piano lessons. Someone's like, oh, hey, hello, what brings you today about, are you looking for piano? Like, let's say it's different music lessons. Are you here? You give them multiple choice. Are you here for piano lessons, violin, etc., or are you looking for something else? So once someone engages with chat, the numbers that we have for our clients, we usually see 60% conversion, 60% or higher conversion. So because once you engage with them, they already felt like they're heard, even though it's a bot, and that you can actually book an appointment right away. So this is what the flow looks like. They go to the website, you capture and qualify them with some questions, and then you can actually, a calendar pops up right there. Like, book that meeting. It's all fluid right away. Because think about it for yourself. When you book a meeting or you have something scheduled, you're probably not going to go shop around and talk or look for another service. So by having this bot, it's basically a 24-hour customer service and sales rep online for you.
Kham, just a comment on that. I know you talked about humanization. So I just said I love Drift as well. It's literally one of my favorite website tools that you have out there right now as well. And I actually just experienced this myself. I was registering for a conference. I read through the entire page. Right, loved the conference. Got to the very bottom where the registration, essentially a contact form to register was, and they were asking for very little information. And the Drift bot was there. And the Drift bot said, "Hey, do you have any questions?" It said, "Hey, bud, do you have any questions?"
Yep.
And I wrote, and it said yes or no. And I wrote, "No, I don't." I just clicked, "No, I don't really have any questions." And they said, "Cool. Do you want me to get you registered?" And I went, "Sure." Literally, I hit the button for sure. They said, "Great, send us your email address." And that was it. It was done. The contact form was right there. It was just as easy, arguably easier to fill out the contact form, but because it was humanized, because they had a conversation with me and they wrote it very intelligently, I registered for the conference via the bot, even though the contact form was right there.
It's like an email drip campaign, right? When you send an email, you must say, I want to follow up 1 day after or 2 days after. Like, how do I make that into a chat? So you're mind mapping that. But yes, like prime example. So you gotta make sure that you don't sound robotic either, right? Because there's a lot of chats that look like that. So it's all about doing, like, I call it the 1 degree. The one, it takes one more additional degree to boil water. So everything that you do in effort wise, from a marketing, branding, or operations, anything that you do, you got to just make sure you're very thorough. Um, just a time check here. I think we're at 11 o'clock. We had a if people need to jump off, I mean, I can
Yeah,
have
if
a
they
few
need
more.
to jump off, we are recording it,
Mhm.
but I have time. If you have time too, we'll continue on and we'll get to the Q and A's as well. And again, we'll send off the live recording, including the Q and A's after as well.
Okay, great. So transition to that booking, right, guys? This I use Calendly and I also use Shift, but a lot of folks use Doodle. So and there's a lot of great booking apps in there. Make it easy for people to just schedule some time with you. Doodle's here. You can do great group. Like I know for board meetings, we have other clients that have that boards that meet with us. So if you're doing a big Zoom like group meeting, send a Doodle out and say, hey guys, when can we do a Zoom meeting? And this is the flow. Like, we're going back to Drift again. This is what it looks like to book in a meeting. So that you qualify the lead. You can ask them how many employees. If you do B2B or B2C, you can route that conversation to any salesperson too, or any customer or account management rep, and then the meeting can be booked there. So now, how does this look for marketing automation? Because we want to work smarter, not harder. So these are popular marketing automation tools. There's tons out there: SharpSpring, HubSpot, Mailchimp, Constant Contact. I'm sure a lot of you guys have Mailchimp or Constant Contact. We use HubSpot. SharpSpring is like a less expensive version of HubSpot. So what does that look like, right? So someone might download a piece of content, or they might watch that video that you put out there, that first touch point. It could be a white paper, and then yes or no, did they open that? Okay, no, then they go down to the path. Maybe we should send them a little Loom video, like educating them, giving value add. What is it? And then yes or no. So you're basically creating these paths with the automation, because right now a lot of people do it manually. You might be doing it via phone call. So how do you automate this stuff? And then by automating it, you're also tracking it all too. What's working, what's not working? Is it the video? Is it the ebook? Is it the 30-minute consultation? I spent some time with them. So automation is going to help make your life a lot easier. So here's Mailchimp. So you can look here. There's a different scenarios that you can pick. If it's an event, an online virtual event, if you're trying to educate with subscribers. I mean, they make it out of the box so easy for you. You don't need to be a marketer. Like a lot of it, all the resources right there for you guys, and it's very inexpensive. With HubSpot, they look at all three. They look at the marketing funnel, to the sales funnel, to the customer success side. So blogging, social media, looking at all the ads, your landing pages, your forms, your call to actions. Are you scoring segmented the list? The phone calls you can work through here. So notifications, meetings, everything's all this hub. So it's like all the different touch points within your operations is all managed here. So that's why we love HubSpot. So now for sales, okay, so you're engaging potential new clients and customers, but even your current customers, you want to have a hub, not just an Excel sheet where all this stuff lives. So these are the popular ones that you probably recognize: Salesforce. HubSpot does it for free. You can actually use a CRM for free. Then you got Pipedrive and Monday.com. So this is called a Kanban look. So it looks like cards. You can create different. Think about all your different stages right now. So you must have a process, even from a customer service standpoint. Like we actually create this within our company. We do say for networking, for example, I have one called like networking pipeline. So I want to make sure that I talk to that person at least 3 times, and then I booked a time. So maybe since you're not doing a face to face, you book a Zoom meeting with them, and then the next phase for me is like, are we collaborating on something? What are we working on together? Like, and then I put another stage is like, I will remind myself to go back and reconnect with that person that I want to keep networking with, because networking is all about keeping top of mind and building deeper relationships. So that's one pipeline that I do here. So it's not sales related. It's really relationship related. From a sales standpoint, you guys can figure that out, right? So whatever stages you have: qualifying, meeting, second meeting, proposal, follow-up proposal, closer one. So that's very easy to track all that here. You have all the dashboards here for sales, Salesforce, and all the other tools through the dashboard as well. This is very powerful. If you are not using some type of sales software proposal, like Proposify or PandaDoc, this is great to give you insight, because if you're sending again a proposal, if we're not able to sit down and review a proposal, a paper proposal, you're probably going to email it to somebody. You can track what are they doing. So the flow that I do is I'll do a Loom video recording myself talking through the proposal, or my team members will do that. If I need to, I'll do a Zoom meeting to get them on here and do a screen share and go through the proposal. You can use any screen share software if you want, and then you make sure you have your video on. You're on the screen. Ask your client or the other person to be on the screen, and then you can get digital signature right there instantaneously. And then you can also track the user engagement. If they say, you know what, I actually need to go back and talk to one of my partners before I do this, or let me think about it a little bit more. Can you please send this to me, and then I'll get back to you in a day or two? Sure, no problem. So you email to them and send it to them. As you can see, this is like a little pie chart. You can find out, are they looking at the scope of work? Are they spending 2-3 minutes on average on the scope of work? Are they looking at the budget? Are they looking at the terms and conditions? What section of the proposal are they looking at? And this gives you insight. So for example, let's say you had a really complex proposal and the scope of work is a little confusing, and you sense that in the meeting when you left the Zoom call. You'll get pinged and you'll say, oh man, John's on this thing a lot. So I would give it like a couple hours and follow up with John and say, John, no, I just want to follow up with you. Did you get a chance to look at that proposal, and did you have any questions about the scope? Because I know there was a lot of things that were going on. Oh my goodness, Kham, you must be reading my mind. Yeah, I was actually confused about this or this. So this really helps you close that loop and get better insights on what's going on there, what you're sharing. And even if you're a teacher, it could just be like a syllabus that you're sending, and like, are the parents confused about this section? Like, why do they keep looking at this section? So it doesn't even have to be sales related. It's anything you want to track as a document, you can track here. And this is PandaDoc, does very similar things here. So templated, it looks a little different, but has very similar features. All right, so really the big takeaways, I went through a lot of things here, guys, is if you can do something right now, get Slack, it's free. Get Loom, it's free. Set that up on your computers, and then find some type of project management software that works for you, and it's free. A lot of them, it's free if you only do a few projects. It'll be free forever. Once you start to use a lot more of the tools, it could be $5 to $20 per user. And they do also right now, I think they're giving out a lot of 30 days for free to try out. So you can try multiple. That makes sense for what you want to use it for.
That's good stuff.
I'll
So
leave a little quote.
I love it. So, couple last things. We do have a couple things for you guys today, and then we're going to move over to questions. We did put up links to just about everything that we talked about today. Is at cinchit.com/work from home. We put links for Teams, for Zoom, for almost every product we talked about, and then for deeper dives too. And we're going to open up for questions in just a second. But for deeper dives, Kham's website is a great way to connect with him. Kham actually is doing a entire work from home series where every Friday, for the next few weeks, he's going to be doing a deeper dive into each one of the things that we talked about today, as well as some additional information. So highly encourage you guys to connect with him. Kham, your website is probably the best way to connect with you for now, and they can register.
Yeah, we have a chat bot there, so there's a lot of different ways you can connect with us.
Perfect. All right, so we're gonna turn it over to Q&As. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and type them in the chat box now. We're happy to answer any questions. I think I tried to answer a lot of them as we went through Kham. But we actually still have quite a few people still on, so it's definitely a topic that people were interested in. A lot of people reporting common issues with internet speeds at home right now. Charter, Spectrum, Verizon, whoever you're using. Those are very common right now. We hear them from customers every single day now. There's a higher than normal call volume well, not call volume, higher than normal internet volume happening from home. So your standard charter internet speeds were probably good enough to stream, Netflix and YouTube for the kids and this and that. But now just about everybody's working from home, and so the demands are enormous, and it is slowing down internet systems quite a bit. Doesn't mean you should accept it. Definitely call Charter, call Spectrum, or Verizon or AT&T or whoever you have. Give them a call. Let them know. Let them do a speed test to find out what's going on. The other thing too is just basic stuff during the day. When you're trying to work and you have some important stuff going on, maybe keep the kids from streaming Netflix and things like that, so that they're not hogging up all your bandwidth there. We got a question: what security is there when it comes to service provider having access to sensitive data in discussion? So the question is what security is from. I think what they're asking is if you have a service provider, an IT company that's supporting you and helping you at home, what securities are in place to make sure that they don't have access to your personal data. Is that the question, Carl? Um, it depends on the tools. If that's the question, it depends on the tools that your IT service provider is using. For me here, the tools that we use, we're not monitoring any home computers or anything like that. Um, oh, for webinars, like, okay, gotcha. If you're doing virtual meetings with Microsoft or with Zoom and things like that, got it. Um, basically, I would read through the terms and conditions of each one of them. Quite honestly, I've never read through all the terms and conditions of Microsoft's or anything like that. We are recording them. Kham mentioned a couple of the ones are archived in their cloud systems, so that they will be stored there. Most reputable providers like Microsoft, Google, things like that, they are encrypted both in transit and at rest. So they are encrypted as they sit on their servers. But definitely, you want to carefully read through all terms and conditions of any of the software providers that you use. Lily, is there a way to place the window panes on the far right so that we can see full screen? You're displaying your picture blocks. Oh, the picture. Lily's asking if we can move the pictures within the webinar software. You and me, Kham, we're at the bottom of the right-hand corner. If we can move our pictures. uh, Probably too late to answer that question. Sorry, Lily, but I actually have no idea on the webinar software if you can move it. Usually on this end of it with Webinar Jam, but you might be able to drag and drop it. I'm not sure. We could probably do a better job of making sure there's no good content underneath in the bottom right hand corner. Probably good feedback from us. Carl, you're welcome. Happy to help answer that question. So,
If you
Kham,
guys are running different softwares, like Webinar Jam here or Zoom, or you guys are using GoToMeetings, like test it out with with another person just to make sure like that user experience. Because we see our from an admin standpoint, we see this internally. So I see myself in the corner here with Rick. So I don't know what you guys look like on your end, but everyone like you gotta just test out the settings sometimes, and we're all learning too through this. So I've learned. I had a couple other webinars I did, and I noticed some different things and quirks, like the polls are they're kind of quirky on Zoom doing the polls, but the polls here are really seamless. So you got to find things out like that as you guys are trying different software.
and it looks like Christy asked if we're using Prezi today. So for my slides, yes, I am. I'm using Prezi. Kham, you're using what? Google Slides. What are you using today for your
Yep,
presentation?
Google Slides.
Yep. So Kham's
We
using.
use G Suite for everything.
Yep.
So
So Kham's using Google Slides. I am using Prezi. I just think Prezi's interactive. It's a little bit more engaging and fun to watch. So I personally love it, and I love the templates that come with it, basic as well. All right, Kham, I think that's all the questions we have. I think we answered every single one of them. So again, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope that the information we shared today was useful. Hopefully, you have some clear takeaways so that you can immediately end this call, go sign up for any one of the different softwares that we talked about today. Anything that struck your fancy, anything that you think would be helpful to make you more productive at home. Hopefully, you can sign up and you can begin to utilize those tools. Like we said, Kham myself. Feel free to reach out to us at any time if you have any questions at all. Whether you're a client of ours or not, we would love to have a conversation with you guys, not from a sales perspective, but just trying to help people out right now. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I hope you guys get from both Kham and myself is that we're here to help you guys. We want to make sure that every business that's out there stays productive for as long as possible, and that they're not affected by the economy too much. It's tough times. We understand that. Hosting webinars like these and giving feedback and answering questions. I'll speak for myself. This is the best way I know how to help and support you guys. So if you have any questions at all, reach out. Kham, you have anything you want to say before we end?
Likewise, we're here as a resource. We work closely with the Chamber of Commerce, Rick and I do, and we're all about our community. We're in it together. We're gonna get out of it together. The series that I'm doing, the one we're doing this Friday, we're gonna send out the link sometime later today. Is about deeper diving into Loom and Zoom. If we're gonna get feedback from you too, whatever you guys need that you need now, please let me know, and then my team can create more information around that to help you guys out to understand what you need to do to really kind of be productive. And we're going to do a series really soon about finances. We're going to have like a chief loan officer to talk about SBA loans and stuff like that. So part of our series is we're going to have guest speakers too. So bringing in experts like Cinch again to talk about cybersecurity and IT services. So you'll see us with Cinch again, with Rick or one of his team members doing another webinar.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. And again, we're going to send off the recording shortly to everybody who was registered as an attendee, so you can take your time, review this, go back through it. And like as we said, if you have any questions, let us know. Lastly, thank you again to the Worcester Chamber of Commerce for putting this together. I know you had to scramble to get this content to your members as fast as possible, but I appreciate the fact that you realized that something like this is incredibly valuable for them to continue business as normal as much as possible. So thank you, Worcester Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Kham, for joining us today, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar.
Take care, guys. Cheers.
Bye-bye.